What's up, everybody? My name is Tim Roswick, and before we get started, I want to make it very clear that I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice, and if you are looking for actual legally binding ways and forms of doing stuff, a YouTube video is probably not the best place to get this from. That being said, everything in this video is my opinion, and I want to share with you how I do things because I feel like it can be helpful. But I'm not a lawyer, and you can't sue me if I tell you what I do and then you do it and you get in trouble. So I just want to throw that out there. Just want to be completely honest. So let's talk about some contracts. Let's talk about getting stuff in writing and contracts. Now, a lot of people will tell you, get a contract. You need a contract if you start any work, if you do any work for hire, if you hire somebody for work, get a contract and do all that. I hear that advice all the time. I see it all the time on Reddit or YouTube comments and stuff like that. And personally, I never use contracts. And it's not that I think contracts are bad. I think they're good. I think they're beneficial. I've used them in the past. But I think the more important thing for a contract is actually getting the stuff in writing, because what a lot of people don't do and how they get screwed a lot of different ways is they'll agree with someone, they'll talk over the phone or they'll talk over Skype or something, they'll agree on something, and then it comes to deliver, and either A, maybe that person wants to be a dick and just reject your work. Maybe there was a miscommunication and what they thought you were going to deliver is not the same thing as what you did. Maybe it takes longer to do the work, or on either end, right? The client end or the buyer end. It really depends. A lot of stuff can go wrong. So it's important that you put things in writing, and it's important that you be as specific as possible. So for me, personally, one of the ways that I handle a lot of my work that I do with clients and stuff is not with contracts, but I'll send a proposal. So I'll talk to them, I'll figure out their needs, I'll talk a little bit about like the specifics of what I may be able to deliver, and I'll ask about their budget, and then I'll say, okay, I need to put together a proposal, this will take a day or two, and then I'll kind of go back to the drawing board, and then from there I'll put together a proposal that's very detailed of what we're going to deliver. It's going to be this thing in this amount of time, it goes this and this and this. I talk about who owns the code. I usually keep ownership of the code, but I give them exclusive or non-exclusive lifetime license to it and all that stuff. And basically I send that over and I say, your check is the acceptance of this agreement, or your payment, or whatever. I have been to court in the past that it's held up. I have done a lot of, I've had a lot of people that have maybe had miscommunications or something, or they didn't read the proposal, and having it in writing has cleared up. And I've also had a lot of situations in the past where I did not have this before I had this, and having everything in writing is so super important. So personally, I don't think contracts make a lot of sense, like especially for indie game developers who might be, you know, strapped for cash. To actually get a contract built by a lawyer is not cheap, right? And I know because I've tried to contract people to do this before. And generally they have templates anyway. They just kind of take their own little template and they give you what it is, and they charge you a shitload of money for it. So I don't think it's worth it to do that. That being said, I do know people that do it. I do know people that have used templates online. I don't have anything against that. I just personally never did it. But I will say this, if you ever are working with other people, whether it's in a team, whether you're hiring someone to work, whether you're being hired to do work, whatever it is, you want to get it in writing. Please get everything in writing. Get the amount, the dollar amount, the time, and the deliverable all in writing. It all needs to be in writing, because I'm not sure how this works in other countries, but I know in the United States, in certain states, agreeing on something isn't actually legally binding contract. It just comes down to you proving that you agreed on that thing. So having it in writing is usually just as good as a contract in some cases. Like I said, I'm not a lawyer. You shouldn't take that as legal advice, because I'm not a lawyer and I don't know all the things, so I could be incorrect on all this. But having done this, you know, a couple times, I've, you know, I must have done mid to high six figures in revenue based on no contracts over the past couple years, or the last few years in my marketing company. So it has worked for me. And the only time we ever did contracts was when the client wanted them, or when they were a bigger company, a larger company, that it was like standard practice for them to have signing contracts or non-competes or whatever it was. So personally, I kind of think it's just a waste of time and effort. But the getting in writing, I want to stress that the getting in writing part is not the waste of time. It's getting the lawyer involved to write all the legalese bullshit. I don't think that is worth the money and the time, but I do think getting specific items in writing is super worth it. I'm going to say that again. The deliverable, the schedule, and the amount of money. You want to get all three of those things in writing. Please get them in writing, whether it's with a team, you're working with a team, or whether it's with people that you're working with, or contractors, or whatever. As long as that stuff is in writing, most of the time you're good. And I would put it in email or some other form that's traceable. I wouldn't necessarily do like text message or anything that can be, just deleted or manipulated, or you can lose a phone or whatever it is. Email is really good. You can archive it, you can back it up, and it's really effective, and you can use it in almost any court of law if it really comes down to it. So those are my thoughts. I hope you found them useful. If you did, please leave me a like and a thumbs up down below. Let me know your tips. Do you believe in using contracts? Do you think we should use contracts? What do you think the pros and cons are of contract versus just having something in writing? Let me know, and I'll read the comments and see you there.